All right, you are now tuned into the Rotated Views podcast. I am your host, Jimmy Lee Velez. I'm here with Goose, Heck, and Gabe. That's right, folks. Episode 103, Counting on You. In this episode, the crew talks about their thoughts on being a reliable person. We cover topics that range from our dependence, beliefs, support, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Tim Schafer and Roy Smith. If you're new, guys, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to download and subscribe. We drop a new episode every Tuesday morning for your listening pleasure. We like to kick things off with a definition from dictionary.com, and we define the word depend. They defined it as to rely, place trust, usually followed by on or upon. All right, we like to kick things off with a story, and I actually got this little quick blurb from pickthebrain.com titled 5 Proactive Ways to Be a Dependable Person. Again, the title is Counting on You, so I figured this was good. So number 1, they say, assume responsibilities. Don't wait for someone to approach you and hand you tasks. Take the initiative to learn what you can to help and volunteer to do it. It's necessary that you know your strengths so you'll have a clear idea what you can contribute to the group. When in a team project and no one is giving you anything to do, just don't sit around, but find what you can do to help. There will always be people who like to do everything and leave nothing for others, but prove to them that your set of skills can measure up to their standards. Yeah, that makes sense. Being a dependable person, you have to assume responsibilities, right? Kind of like taking it on, being not just reliable, but being someone who's willing to, who cares and wants to, I guess, provide in, sharing responsibility or the role of and participation. Number 2, live up to your promises. Make sure to always deliver on your promises. If you set a deadline for yourself, then try to meet it no matter what. It's empty promises that can make people not trust your words. While it's necessary to know your strengths, it's also important to be aware of your weaknesses. Don't take too much on your plate, or you'll end up backtracking what you've said you'll do. Even if asking to help may not be your cup of tea, it's better than not being able to live up to your words. Obviously, that's huge. So living up to your promises. We encounter people all the time. I mean, it's crazy because you grow up with people like as kids and you don't know this kind of thing. You're just kind of like, whatever. It's like, it is what it is. I remember like the first time someone didn't return my call, and I couldn't believe they didn't return my call. And I was just like, literally like dumbfounded. I'm like, I don't understand. Like if someone called me, I would call them back. Yeah. That's how like, I don't know if it's like naive or just immature.
How old were you at that?
I don't know.
Think that?
Probably like 12, 13.
Okay.
It's just, I don't know. It was just bizarre. Like at that point, right. Sure. Looking back at it now, obviously it's super funny, but anytime someone reached out to me, I expected the same in return.
Sure.
That was one of my first lessons, realizing like people don't operate all the same, clearly.
Sure,
right.
Exactly.
Or if you say you're going to be at my house and you never showed up and I'm literally sitting there waiting. I know grown people who say, "Oh, I'll be over," or "Yeah, let's do something," and then just never follow through with whatever they're saying. It's just, that is still bizarre. I still can't, because as a grown person, you should be able to you should have
to say what you mean, like not
just say no. No, I'm tired. I'm not going out. I don't feel like hanging out tonight. Just don't say I'm going to hang out and then just don't show up.
Yeah.
Okay. No, basically no call, no show, no nothing. Like they just
they tell you they're going to hang out or whatever. I keep saying hang out or do something. They tell you they're going to do something. They just don't do it.
Don't come through.
But it's like, all right. So for example, if I need to help moving something, like I had this huge piano and I needed 3 people, right? And I reach out. And everyone's like, all right, yeah, I'll be over. What time? I say 1:00. And like a person just never shows up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not that you're not helping me. It's not that you're just not showing up. It's the fact that I don't even know what's going on because you're not communicating that.
Sure.
Well, anyway, we'll dive more into that kind of stuff. But yeah, live up to your promises. That's not even a promise, dude. Just live up to your word.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Number 3, step up to the challenge. When no one else wants to do the dirty work, pull up your sleeves and take on the challenge. Don't be afraid to go out of your comfort zone, because only then will you be able to know your limits. If you're afraid that it's far from the usual things you do, then think of it as a learning experience. You won't experience growth if you keep on doing the same things and not shaking things up. Besides, wouldn't it be impressive if you managed to accomplish something deemed impossible or difficult by others? I mean, I guess, I don't know if that necessarily means that you're not dependable if you don't step up to the challenge. You know what I'm saying? I do see like stepping up to the challenge. I agree we should step up to challenges, but I'm not so sure. I'm probably missing something here, but I'm not sure if that has to do with being a dependable person. Number 4, own up to your mistakes. One thing that's difficult for many is to have accountability. But only when you know how to take responsibility for your actions will you manage to gain someone's respect. Don't beat yourself up too much when you commit mistakes, because everyone does it too. However, learn to accept the consequences of your actions and don't find something or someone else to blame. Instead, learn how the mistake can change you for the better and let it be a lesson for next time. The important thing is that you try, and if you may have failed, at least you acknowledge it instead of denying that your actions lead to a mistake. Own up to your mistakes. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. Because here's the thing. It's like people who just deny that, what they did was wrong.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Then don't reward yourself when what you did was right.
What? Say it again?
So you have to have the contrast. You can't be someone who just like wants to take credit for when something's awesome.
Okay.
You have to also be the person who has to also take the credit or fault, whatever you want to call it, for when something went downhill.
Good or bad, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. To me, that's the dependable person.
Sure.
I can't depend on somebody who's flaky when everything went south. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But is super confident when everything's going good.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be steadfast. Like, you have to be in the middle. Like, you can't be too high, you can't be too low. You have to be, bam, right there in the middle. Like, I want you to get excited if something great happened, but you can't get too low if things hit the fan. When things hit the fan.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
To be a ghost when, when stuff's happening.
But you also have to be like, yo, like, I messed up. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
That people respect that more than you just, like,
Absolutely.
running away from your problems or not admitting when clearly you're wrong. And number 5, be resourceful. Squeeze out all the creative juice you can manage and be the hero in sticky situations. Resourcefulness is a quality anyone can appreciate, knowing that you're someone who can figure out a solution for impossible situations can definitely earn you some cookie points. Be innovative, be ingenious. The crazier the better. Be the person with all the solutions in dire situations. Of course, it's easier said than done, but knowing how to think out of the box can help the process. Dependability is a trait one wants to say they possess, but we all know it's less about wishing it to come true and more on making it happen. Yeah. What is Rob Dyrdek? What's Rob Dyrdek's thing? Oh, man. I forget, but he has a saying like there's no such thing as luck, kind of thing.
Okay.
It's all or a message. Yeah, well, yeah, I believe that too. It's your thoughts, your actions, your emotion, all that coming in together. There's no.
We talked about last week, attitude and all.
Yeah. I don't believe in coincidence. The word that never even existed or just doesn't exist in the Bible. So then define coincidence. Right? Things basically coming together in a either haphazard way or just by chance.
Yeah, it's just stuff happening just
randomly.
Happenstance.
Right, exactly. And if that's not in the Bible, for me,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That's just a word. It's just like luck.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there? I don't know, to be honest with you, but I favor on the side that there isn't. I think things just happen, just as much to say that miracles happen.
Sure,
and you know what I'm saying?
And I
not
think
luck.
Luck is perception. Is how you think about the situation just happened. Like, good things always happen to me. You can always have the balance of crappy things are happening too, but you just don't pay as much attention to those things.
Right. Well, okay. So then, So if is like, oh, that's my luck. When people say that, right? People say that all the time, right? Mm-hmm. But when as much as you got to think whatever, like there's cause and effect. So if someone has that many things go wrong in your life, that means either you or someone else always has something going right in their life, right? Yeah. That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
There's no balance there, right? Like literally there's cause and effect. You can't just always have a terrible life.
Yeah, exactly.
Like good things happen to you. Your perception might be that you have a terrible life.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's your perception. That doesn't mean that that's what you actually have. And then compared to whom? Your life, what you think stinks, someone else could praise.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's their dream life. All right, so we'll jump right into it. First question. Are you a reliable person?
I try to be.
Yeah.
I think that's the goal, right?
That's the goal.
You would think.
Like, I don't try to be unreliable. Like,
excuse me, I'm totally unavailable.
I don't want to help.
I'm just going to accept things and just not do them.
Be unreliable on purpose.
Yeah, I think deep down inside, people mean well. Like, all people mean well. Mm-hmm. How they come off is a whole other thing. But I do genuinely feel like people want to be loved and want to do well. But things happen and, obviously their actions might say something totally different.
Sure. Yeah.
Whatever. But I think if you had a decision and someone's like, do you want to be a reliable person or do you want to be an unreliable person? I would say 99% of people would say I want to be a reliable person.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What actually unfolds, that's a whole other beast. But I'm saying if you chose, let me be unreliable versus reliable, you're going to say reliable, right?
Yeah.
So I think people's intentions are one thing. How they approach life can be totally different.
Sure.
How they follow through with it is completely on them. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was thinking, like, you could constantly, oh, yeah, I'll be there, but, like, they give the impression that, like, they're never going to come through with it, so you stop asking them to help you with things, whatever.
Right. So if you're a reliable person, can people trust and depend on you?
I would
Sure.
hope so.
Yeah, absolutely.
So a part of being a reliable person,
I think they go hand in hand. They have to.
Right. So part of being a reliable person has to be someone who's trustworthy.
Yes.
Right. Someone that people can count on, so to speak.
Sure. Like in the beginning, you can give the benefit of the doubt, like if you don't have that close relationship. But eventually you get to the.
Well, like building the rapport. Yeah.
Yes.
That is tough. That is tough. But the first shot you do get, what are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Because now you're setting the tone. You know what I mean? You're setting the tone for you and that person's relationship forever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yo, I remember the one time that, I needed this dude and I asked for his help and he said he'll be there and he never showed up.
Yeah.
Right? So now will always be in that person's mind.
Right.
Forever.
That's even like, you just for the benefit of the doubt, you want to ask for their help and you're like, he ain't coming.
Yeah.
Like you already know that what's gonna happen, but you just still put it out there.
Now here's the thing for someone who you can be reliable, but you can be like a really bad reliable person. And here's what I mean. So like you can always be there for somebody, but always also throw it in their face.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like you're a reliable person, but every time I ask you something, you're always there, but you make it known that you did me a favor.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
so it's
worst.
Like, what happens? Yeah. I'm better off never asking you for anything or for any help because you're there and I'll give you that. You're dependable. But when it comes to, you're doing it, I feel like, out of selfishness or out of just...
For recognition.
Yes, and not because you're really, truly trying to help. And that's okay for the first time. Sure. And if I didn't know that's how you are, fair enough. But if it's done again or it's done over and over, if you're that person, I mean, really think about that. You're not reliable, you're not trustworthy emotionally or, in the sense of outside of physically being there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like you're physically available but not emotionally, and it almost makes it the two have to go together.
Sure, absolutely.
I feel like reliable people are there because they truly want to be, and that's what makes you a reliable, dependable person, trustworthy person, because that's within you. That's who you are. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's who you want to be. But then you have a person who's like, you ask for help, and they'll drag you through hell They're helping you, but it's like, oh my gosh, man, it's inconvenient. I was just on my way home. I just wanted to relax. Now I got to help you fix a flat.
Or it's
that's the worst.
Or it's the other one where they'll help you, but you gotta help me back too. Like it's kind of like
they kind of keep it
Oh,
written
yeah.
in the book. Oh yeah, remember 2 months ago I helped you did this.
All I'm saying is, while I'm helping you do this, you guys are gonna help me do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
I know that very familiar.
Yeah.
And guess what? I never asked for that person's help ever again. I'm on everything. I'm not exaggerating either. And or someone else might have asked them, for help or whatever, but never. And when it came to be my turn, I did not ask for that help.
Sure.
I don't want the help. Not that kind. Mm-hmm. All right, so how does communication relate to being dependable? So it kind of goes back to what we were saying before, right? Like if you say you're going to be somewhere, and let's just say you're running late, communication in effect, send an email, send a text, whatever, call, yo, I'm running 5 minutes behind, boom, boom. You're late, and you're not, what life happened for whatever reason, why you're not going to be on time, which someone would say, okay, that's not, reliable, dependable person. However, you can intercept that judgment by then making up for it with a phone call or a text.
Absolutely.
Like, yo, I'm going to be 5 minutes late. I'm going to be 10 minutes late, whatever.
Absolutely.
Got stuck in traffic, whatever. Now, here's the thing with that. You can't always be 15 minutes late.
Sure.
Now you're not a reliable person.
Yeah.
No matter, even if you are sending that text or making that phone call, every time we have a meeting, you can't always be 15 minutes late and say I'm stuck in traffic.
Because then you, as the person asking that person, you're going to compensate for that 15 minutes or whatever it is, that amount of time that's always late. So you're going to say, oh, be here so time, but you're going to actually tell them 20 minutes earlier.
Well, yeah, I mean, your accountability shot, too. I mean, if you're someone who's always late for everything, fair.
Sure.
But if we set something up and you're always late for that, I can't, dude, me personally, I can't depend on you.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what you're wishy-washy.
Sure.
That's like people, not my job per se, but like people at their jobs.
Yeah.
You see people coming in, you start every day at 9 o'clock. Why are you leaving your house at 8:45 to get to work? There's traffic. Every day is a new day. There's something to come. So, I mean, I understand, like Jim was saying, the first time is acceptable kind of thing. But now it's like, all right, so now you're 2-3 times a week.
What's what I'm saying? Like, if you're someone who's always late to stuff, that has nothing to do with life. That has everything to do with you.
You as a person.
You can't always be late for stuff. That's just not how this works. It's not believable.
Right, and the best is when it turns around on them. When someone's late for them,
Sure.
It's the end of the world.
Oh, yeah.
It's the end of the world. Oh, man, they're late. Oh, I can't believe it came late, or I can't believe it this. Well, dude, it's just coming back around for all your tardiness. It's unreliable. So how do you expect something to be reliable for you?
Do you respect other people's time?
Absolutely. I do.
If you have respect for that person, you should.
Yes, yeah. I do.
I also feel like we say we do too, but we not always. I feel like the idea and the concept of saying, yeah, I'm reliable, yeah, I respect people's time. I think we think we are that way all the time, but we're not.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's a great thing to say, like, yeah, I respect people's time. But are you actually respecting people's time?
Sure.
I think like 95% of the time, yes. But I know people who literally go out of their way to not mess up your time in a respectable way. Like, I had people communicate with me that something's not happening, they're going to be late, whatever, we can't make this happen, on a very, like, plenty of time warning, all kinds of stuff. And I'm not talking about emergencies. Obviously, crazy things happen in life, right? Sure. I'm talking about, like, you just felt that person's compassion. They genuinely cared and respected you and your time. Like, yo, I'm so sorry, right? But respecting someone's time isn't necessarily you being there and being on time, right? That can also mean you wasting their time while you're there. Like, you could have showed up. Okay, for example, like if I was a boss and I gave like a staff member an assignment, right? I said, you got to be here at 8:00 and you have to come with a book report, right? On X, Y, and Z book. The person shows up on time. They're there at 7:45, but they don't have no book report. So you respected my time in what? In the actual aspect of the, figuratively speaking,
Physical
like the
time.
actual time?
But the actual tax supposed to be happening.
But you wasted my time by even meeting up with me.
Yeah.
Because you have nothing, no
nothing
content.
to show for it. Yeah.
Right. So you could have that as well. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like the actual time, like right now it's 8 o'clock.
Like you kept the appointment, but there was nothing
Right.
else behind that.
Beyond
Phase
that.
one, productivity.
Right. How do you manage your commitments?
Like
So like if you're a
scheduling,
reliable person, right?
You
You show up to stuff on time. So how do you
Okay.
manage your commitments? Like, okay, for example, we committed to be pre-T-ball coaches, right?
Right.
This year specifically, I stepped down from being head coach because I didn't want to, quote, commit to something that I couldn't hold my end on.
Right.
I've been there every single one, right? But just in case I couldn't, I made sure that was up front. So I don't want to say like, yo, I'm going to be there. I'll give coach, yeah, whatever it is, what it is. To me, that's someone who you just don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if me as a person, I respect people's time because I know all that comes back to me, right? In the law of attraction, karma, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
whatever I say, like whatever I do to somebody, if I rob somebody, down the lane, someone's going to rob me. And I'm not going to know it's coming in that sense, right?
Yeah.
Like me, I could physically like mug you, rob you, take your wallet, and go spend your money, right? Then someone else doesn't mean that someone's gonna rob me in the same manner,
Yeah.
but it can mean someone could rob me where I got gypped on buying a car and I lost $5,000, not realizing down the street I could have bought the same car for the same mileage, same everything for $5,000 cheaper. You got robbed, you got right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that same thing. People think that it's literal, like. It's not
literal.
It's not pound for pound.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pound for pound. It's not literal though.
Yeah.
Right? Like boxers. Boxers are pound for pound, right? You're 142 pound, 142 pound. Do they look the same? No. Their body types are somewhat the same, but the way they fight, the style, how they hit you, their approach, boom, 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 totally different. Right? Some of them even have more power, and they're the same weight. You're like, how's
Right.
that?
Yeah.
How's that possible? They know how to utilize what they got.
Yeah.
Right? So you're still getting hit with that 145 pound lie, just in a different way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But anyway, managing your commitment to saying like, okay, anyone who has a job and shows up on time, that's managing a commitment. Like you committed to this job. A lot of people sign contracts. Athletes, people, of
Tons of hours
all
and-
kinds of stuff. Yeah, exactly. Like that's part of the job description. Like, if you're not a business owner, if you're not like someone who owns their own stuff, entrepreneur, whatever, even as a volunteer, right? Like you should be showing up. You committed to it. It has nothing to do with pay. It has nothing to do with making money, right? Because you can volunteer. What's the point of you volunteering for something, for an event that started at 10 a.m. and you show up at noon? With no excuse, like that's just when you showed up. Like,
Don't even
dude, you're
come.
not helping me. Like, that's worse actually, because I
Make yourself
depended
look like
on
a fool,
you
yeah.
for your help,
Yeah.
right?
Show up 2 hours late.
So it's like a priority thing too, but that has nothing to do with making money.
No, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Like people think it not just getting stuck on. It's just an income thing, or a money making thing.
And that's what I guess that if you're making money, that's what gives it more of an incentive to let's show up on time. But then people think like, oh, you're just doing it out of the kindness of their heart. Then they show up whenever.
Or yeah, and then even take it
Becomes-
literal. Like
it becomes lackadaisical.
you start dating a girl, and you tell her, all right, let's go grab dinner. And then after dinner, like there's whatever, let's go watch like a comedy, stand-up comedy, like a little event, whatever, down the city. Okay. If the stand-up comedy event starts at 10, whatever, that means I'm more than likely gonna probably scoop you up around 7:30
Yeah.
ish, 8 o'clock. I need time. Well, we need time to go to the restaurant, or if I made reservations, then I fall behind on that. Then this is what I mean. There's one. It kind of like it's like that domino effect.
Yes.
If you mess up on picking that person up late or on time, I mean, that pushes that whole thing 15, 20 minutes behind.
Right.
Then by the now you missed the whole beginning of this show. Whatever, and it just keeps
Yeah,
going. That's
absolutely.
a very simple example.
Sure.
But that's how life works.
Yes.
When you could have, if you were just on time, everything could have literally worked out.
Because usually you already plan for some unforeseen to some respect.
Right.
So yeah, you already.
Well, yeah, and I'm not talking about freakish stuff.
No,
like
no,
getting
no,
a
of course.
car accident. Like
Basic
I
stuff.
get all that stuff. I'm just saying, like on a normal,
like
like
basic,
yeah,
traffic and stuff like that.
right. I I don't know. It's definitely interesting. Do you respond to email/text quickly? So this all goes around. You know, they're counting on you. So people are counting on you to be the person that you're saying you are. Now, this is situational. It depends, right? Like it depends on what kind of text, right? So if someone's texting you about something very important, or you see a name like, oh wow, this person doesn't abuse my time. Same thing can happen with text. Social media. Are you wasting people's time? Are you just posting nonsense? Are you emailing nonsense? Are you text messaging people a bunch of junk? Because then that's when stuff starts to get ignored. When there's 500 messages of just stuff, that person's not going to care to read it or respond quickly. Like, and then you don't even give them time to respond either. It's all this happened between a minute and a half. And all I did was walk away from my desk and came back within 10 minutes, and I have 152 text messages. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not even talking
about... They ask a question on top
about,
of a question on top of a question.
Yeah.
So what do you think? And then...
Yeah, and I'm not even talking about group text. I'm talking about, like, a person's texting.
Yeah.
It's like, what in the world, dude? But it's a waste of time.
But there's a lot of what you said, like, you give, like, no time to actually respond. Because I have somebody, like, I work with, like, who... will send you an email to actually do something, and then literally like 2 seconds later walk over to ask you in person after they emailed you. Like,
did you read my email?
Are
you gonna respond?
Oh, dude, there's one thing with email that drives me nuts, is when someone asks me if I read their email. I'm like, dude, could you not ask me that? Like, I'm serious. If I read your email, I would have. Especially if you know me as a person anyway.
Yeah.
I'm responsive.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, because the world stops when you specifically send me an email. Like, I'll get to it. I don't stare at my screen. Yeah. But here's the thing. When I send an email, you don't read it. You bring a problem to me that was answered in that email that I sent.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the reason why it's annoying.
Yeah.
It's like, you keep your email open. If you're going to be like that,
sure,
then you have to be like that with yourself. Don't be like that with just me.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
it's a two-way street with that.
Yeah.
It does drive me nuts. Like people with their emails. Your email, if you're at work and you're working and email is part of your, not job duties, but it's part of your daily.
Yes.
Keep your email open. I see people have their emails closed and then they check it, boom, 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 boom,
like
and then close it out.
Emails.
I'm like, why are you closing out your email? Leave it open because stuff come in through the email. Like,
absolutely.
You're getting a response back or somebody needs to get a hold of you or something, or you can see something that pops up like, why are you closing your email? Close your email when you're done for the day. Like, that's something, I don't know, that drives me nuts. Especially work related. Like, my personal email address, I look at it, I respond if it's something of importance, but for the most part, it's just junk email.
Yeah.
So I don't pay no mind to it, so.
Yeah, like, I went to a store, I bought something, they said, we send our email, or we send your receipt through your email.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, so I put it in. You sent me my receipt, but every day you sent me 5 freaking emails of all your sales that you have. 50% off this, BOGO that.
Yeah.
You're in luck.
I stopped that, dude. I canceled that.
Oh, no,
and now
man.
I know, and when I go to the store, I just get the paper receipt. Forget that.
Unreal.
Forget the email.
Just canceled your email.
Yeah.
Dude, that's legit spam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's legit spam.
That's
you asked me if I wanted your email for a receipt, and then you start bombing me with promotions. Like, that's literally spam. And
that's what, like, I
didn't ask for that.
I always have one email just for when I buy stuff.
Yeah.
Just to give that out.
Like a junkie
essentially.
email?
I mean, I use it for other stuff. But
GameBuyStuffs@gmail.com.
Yeah, exactly.
So the worst also is, like, you know how, like, when you respond to text messages and that person sends you a message and you respond right back to them, but then it's like, boom.
And
like
8 hours later.
Like, you were like, all right, I just responded back to you because you asked me something, and you don't respond till 3 hours later. Like, you know how I am when it comes to, like, messaging you or whatever the case may be. Like, answer back.
Yeah.
Answer back. I mean, you just walked away from it? Well, I don't get it.
Just threw my phone away in the trash.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, life happens too.
Absolutely.
But if you're a person who always does that, that's when it becomes annoying. Because you could be, like, in the middle of texting somebody and then get in the middle of doing something. Like, your kid could be, I gotta go to the bathroom. Like, anything could happen. So your face is not just in your phone.
Sure. Right.
But if it's habitual, then it's different.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's just the same thing with being late.
Sure.
Like, you could be late
Yeah,
a
correct,
couple times, but you can't always be late. Now, you're ridiculous.
Or die.
Do you fix your mistakes timely? I'm going to say for myself, I try to.
Sure.
It's something I learned really fast in my career. It's like, handle the situations now.
Because you can't go, let it get out of hand.
Yeah, well, then it gets hairy. Then all of a sudden you forget because your day's so busy. Then you get questions like, oh, like 3 days later, you completely forgot.
Yeah.
Is this handled? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah.
You're playing catch up with yourself. All right, what exactly happened again? What was the situation?
You have to prioritize them.
Yeah.
Like, what's super important? I get that, but you should also answer that stuff timely.
Sure.
Because there's nothing worse than being caught
in
the act of never taking action on something that
should have been done.
You really should have been. That's your job, kind of thing. That's a tough one. All right. So what about a little bit of dad life here? Do you keep your word / promises with your family?
Well, with me, I try to. I have so many kids, and they're always asking for stuff or wanting me to do stuff with them. And then next, it's like I get pulled over this way or I get pulled over that way. So I try to keep up with them and try to keep my word with them so that they know it's not like, oh, yeah, Daddy's just bull crapping us again.
Yeah.
So I try to keep up with them. If I say I'm going to do it, I try to keep up. And trust me, they remind you also. So they remind you over and over and over again, which drives me off the wall and then makes me not want to do it.
Right.
Just because they're not, just let it go. I got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, I try to.
Yeah, kids will definitely hold you to it.
Yeah.
It depends on the kid, but it also depends on you.
Yeah.
If you always never show up or if you always never there, like they expect that, so they're not going to bring it up. Like, well, whatever, it is what I expect anyway. This guy's a piece of shit.
Nothing new.
Yeah, no, but in all seriousness, I think that's just one of those things where it's with the following question: how can you teach your kids to be dependable? I think it's an action thing. It's what they see.
Yes.
Because a lot of times, how like kids' vocabulary is much more limited than one as an adult. For the most part, again, generally speaking. A lot of times they can't express themselves through words, particularly what they're thinking.
Yeah.
They end up doing it through action. So they start crying, they start getting in a mood swing, they turn their back on you, all this kind of things. But expressing themselves, so basically that's part of their language, right? So then that's how they easily understand. I'm not saying that they don't understand when you talk to them and explain things, but they easily understand when you're showing them. Yeah. It's when you actually doing it on a consistent, persistent basis, on a daily basis, that this is who that person is. And I know that because he shows me every single day. Not because he tells me every single day, right? Because a lot of times words can just like go literally one ear out the other.
Right.
And it's just words. But if I told you I work out every single day, right? I mean, you got to work out. It's for your health. Like, work out every single day. You have to. And I tell you, versus you go into my garage every single morning and I'm on a bench press or whatever. I'm working out. Totally different. I don't have to say nothing. Our dad was like that, right? A man of not that many words outside of socializing. But when it came to work and it came to his work ethic and the person who he was, he did everything. A lot of it was just through his actions. Just what he did. That's where a lot of our like, if someone's like, yo, what was the biggest thing your dad ever told you? He's like, the biggest thing my dad ever done was really showed me.
Yeah.
He showed me how to love. He showed me how to respect people. He showed me how to work. He showed me how to earn for everything for what I had. Dude, someone could tell me all that. All these books are telling me all these things. Right? The most impactful thing is when you're shown. When you have an example, that's when the title of this is called. Counting on you. They want to see you do it. Then they're tired of you yelling at them about everything. Are you also doing it? Because one day you're gonna get called out on this stuff.
Sure. Yeah,
exactly.
Right, and then that day when you get called out, what happens? You have a lifetime of being a father, and all of a sudden you have zero respect. Right? It gets rescinded. All that, everything you did. What did they say? Lifetime to build a reputation and whatever. I forget what the thing is called. I don't think it's reputation. But anyway, it takes a second to ruin whatever.
But kind of Manny was talking about that last week too. Was like with like because the son he used to take him out to like the backyard or something. Like after a while he stopped asking CJ about it, and after a while CJ just started joining him because he just kept going out, working out in the backyard, whatever he said it.
Yeah, I mean eventually, right? The kids will pick up, and then you have conversations, and then they ask you more deep things.
Sure.
But if you can't show them on the most basic level, right?
Yeah.
You can't tell your kid, oh, you got to get up and earn your way through this life when you don't have a job, you're unemployed, and you're milking the system for your life, for your lifestyle. I'm not saying whatever that's one whole other topic. It is what it is. I'm not saying that's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying you can't double talk. Like you just can't tell somebody. And I'm not talking about, again, extreme things where you physically can't make it happen.
Sure.
No, if you're a physically able person, healthy person, you can make it happen.
But yeah, do as I say, not as I do is not a
right.
It's a very short term mantra that you
right.
can follow.
Because
Exactly. Then they're, like you said, they're gonna see your actions and not believe any word you say.
Yeah,
it's almost like when somebody's telling you, yo, you should get this. This is top of the line. This is that. Like they're selling it to you.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you go to look at them and like, wait, why don't you have it?
Yeah.
All right. So why are you selling this to me if you don't have it?
Yeah.
What's the purpose of that? I can't rely on what you're telling me because you have no idea. You don't own it. You don't have it. So how are you going to tell me that I should do it or I should buy it?
It's preaching and pitching a falsehood.
Sure.
It's literally like the same thing as like Goose. We talk about this all the time, like fake jewelry or whatever, or on social media, these fake lifestyles that they don't really live, but they portray this image. Like, okay, for example, and I have nothing against the guy, but it was just this, and I don't know how true or not true it is, but there's a rapper / actor by the name of Bow Wow. And he had a lot of, a huge reputation, very successful in the music industry, became an actor, very successful in the acting industry. And for whatever reason, I'm not saying is allegedly how true or untrue this is. Among other celebrities, they post their lifestyle, what they're quote living like, living life like. And he had posted something about, allegedly, posted something about him being in a private jet or something like that, flying to some event or whatever, and apparently someone took a picture of him, and there he was like in like just like a regular aircraft, commercial airplane, with everyone else kind of thing. How true or untrue that is, his reputation got demolished off that.
Absolutely,
literally demolished. Just that one thing, because that's all it took.
Right.
Now, if that was fake, in my opinion, I don't know if that was really fake. I think it would have came out and immediately been shut down. But it never really got shut down. It kind of just stayed floating on social media space. So it's like, okay, I guess this is true because, because a lot of lies are said and a lot of made up stuff.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But I think it's just the same way. I think it's just a smack back in your own face. Like all the stuff you've been lying about. What if it was a lie? It almost matches who you are then. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're always making stuff up, you're always lying. So for someone to make up and lie about you, isn't that what you deserved anyway?
Yeah, because that's what you've been doing.
I mean, I'm not wishing that on people, but I'm just saying, like that's how it works.
Yeah.
I'm reading the Hero by Rhonda Byrne, literally for the second time in 1 week. Remember I talked about this? I read 6 books in 1 week, right? And it's like, how what are you doing, right? In that book, they're talking about being the hero, right? Literally, well, that's the title of the... But it's saying, like, you're the hero of your own life. And you need to live life. You need to live your life. So tying all that in with this whole social media thing, pretending or portraying something, rocking all this, like, fake jewelry, fake whatever... You realize that all that fake stuff that you do will then manifest into other fake things in your life. Sure. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're true and you're wearing or you're doing like real things, and this has nothing to do with jewelry. Like I'm saying jewelry because it's an easy example. But if you're inauthentic or versus authentic with stuff, that's what's going to come back. So if everything I wear is real and is the real deal, in theory, everything I should get in return and portray it's just real. This is truly who I am, right? Versus if I'm rocking this huge ass gold dookie chain and it's a fake plastic, John, right? But I want people to think that it's real. That's what a difference is.
Sure.
Where I want you to think it's real. So now that's a psychological thing. So what else are you portraying out to the world that you're faking, right? That you're pump faking. That you want them to think that I'm really living this way. Like they should know that, right? But you're not really living. See, here's the problem. That goes back and now affects you. You're jipping yourself off because now you're the one who made up that, and now you're living with the fact like I don't really live like this. Yeah. I'm a liar. I make things up. I'm fake. Yeah. And that now is going to eventually come out in some way.
Yeah. Because you have to upkeep that facade.
Right. But then in your mind, you're lying, though.
Yeah.
You're the one that's dealing with it,
you're slowly eating away your own ego and pride and all that.
How you try to build your pride by showing off, you end up again, it comes back. Yeah. You're eating your own pride because you know this is fake, this is false. I don't feel genuine. But if everything I do is genuine, I feel that is genuine, and I feel like wow, what I'm portraying, what I have, everything's real. Then I have nothing to hide. The truth will set you free, right? Absolutely. I have nothing to hide. Like this is truly who I am, right? I mean that's in theory, that's how it operates. And then I seen it in real life. That's really how it operates. Yeah. I've done both.
Yeah.
But going back to Rhonda Byrne's book, The Hero, it's a spin-off, The Secret, Off the Power, The Magic. The Hero was the last one. So the hero is that we all go on this journey, but you are your own hero of your story. And people don't understand. And the reason why it's said to that is so you can realize how powerful you truly are. You're not here on earth literally to work a 9 to 5, live for the weekends, and that's it every single day in and day out. Mm-hmm. Like you're kidding yourself.
Yeah.
There's no point in that, right? So it's saying you have to, because people think it's like, well, it's too hard, or it's too painful. When the reverse is more true, it's more painful to hold all those dreams and all those abilities inside and not actually apply them for the rest of your life. That's harder to deal with. That's the crap that you tell yourself, and now you got to eat that every single day. Just like the person who was saying, though they have like a Lamborghini, blah, 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 and portraying this, meanwhile, it was just a rented car.
Yeah.
Right? It's not really yours. There's nothing wrong with renting a Lamborghini. But don't also take ownership like that's your Lamborghini. Yeah. Say, look what I rented for the weekend to have fun. I think people respect that more, saying like, yeah. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, absolutely. That's dope. I got to do that one time.
Yeah.
Just a feel. Absolutely. Why would I drop $250,000? Why not test it for whatever, a G? I'd rather test it and like, okay, I really don't like this. I don't even fit in it. Rather than spend $250,000. You know what I'm saying? That's more real. Me saying like, yo, I rented it. Yeah, Jones, that sucks. That's not what I thought it was.
Tiny as hell.
Because again, here's all perception. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, so we got to be the heroes, and being the hero of your own life is being accountable, dependable, reliable to yourself, and then you could be that person that people can count on as like your kids, family members, friends, your boss. Everybody can count on you. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, and then you could be that person. Like this doesn't matter what this person's going through. I can depend on them as a dependable person. All right, so the last thing, what does being truthful have to do with being a dependable person?
I think you literally just said that.
Yeah, I think we kind of answered that.
That
yeah, I think the being truthful, obviously it goes back to what we just said with you could only lie about something for so long till it end up basically catching up to you, and at the end of the day, you're only hurting yourself.
Yeah. And you can't be not reliable, dependable if you're not trusted and respected.
Right.
There you go.
All right, so there you have it. We like to wrap these episodes up with quotes, and the first one is by Tim Schafer. If you're not loyal to your team, you can get by for a while, but eventually you will need to rely on their loyalty to you, and it just won't be there. And the second one by Roy Smith. Cultivate dependability, and you will always have responsibilities. That's dope. That's a little accountability quote there by Roy Smith. All right, folks, so there you have it. Counting on you. In this episode, the crew talks about their thoughts on being a reliable person. We cover topics that range from our dependence, beliefs, support, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Tim Schafer and Roy Smith. Awesome. Guys, thanks again for joining us. The Rotated Views podcast was produced for self-development purposes. Huge shout out to our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Blessed Lifestyle brand. That is BL3SSED.com. Also sponsored by The Motivation Files Unleashed. This motivational mixtape will be your fuel for success. Available on all platforms. Guys, don't forget to visit the website, JimmyLeeVelez.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rotated Views. If you have any inquiries or questions, email us at info@JimmyLeeVelez.com. On behalf of myself and the rest of the crew, we wish you massive success. Stay blessed.